And begin.
I know, I'm rocking. Everybody's gonna get motion sick, especially me.
So, hey Kevin.
Hi Lane.
So we're back again.
Yes, we just got back from another hard weekend working at Little Miss Janie.
And the purpose of this weekend's worth of really hard work was to take our disgusting, nasty original kitchen. How'd you find it, Kevin?
You know, I don't know. Some sort of alien colony, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And spend $300 and give her a complete restoration, makeover, facelift. I do feel like I need to clarify.
Yeah, let's get things straight.
Let's get it straight, folks. First of all, you're not watching HGTV.
Right.
So the projects that we're doing, other than like just the little Janie before and afters, are not going to happen in 30 minutes.
We're spoiling them with the Janie things,
We are, but that's because the big guts have been done in Janie, right? The plumbing, the wiring, the roof. We just put a new roof on her. The plumbing's good, the wiring's good. So you're not having to live through all that with us on Janie.
A lot is happening.
Melly, we got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Before you're seeing the pretty stuff happen.
Hang in there with
I
us.
smell gas. Oh, they're working on the gas line.
They are working on the gas line.
That's why I smell gas.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Oh, and we totally forgot to mention that we had a new gas line and new gas meter put in Janie.
So don't feel like A, we're not doing anything, or B, you're gonna see Melly finished anytime soon. We're letting you guys walk through this with us in true time. And true time on a restoration is 12 to 18 months. So it's gonna be 12 to 18 months before Melly is finished. But we're lucky that we have Janie, that we can do these quick little weekend.
Right. Somebody asked the other day, why would you clean the front room of Melly when you're just going to get it dirty? And I was like, well, we didn't really clean that front room.
We can't even walk around in there.
We cleaned it out.
We cleaned it out. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, Lori Powell. Are you out there, Lori?
Ooh, Lori.
She's getting called out because she's the one who said, I'm so disappointed to see that you guys don't do your own work. I thought you did your own work and now I see that you don't. Now, the only thing I can figure is we look so bad when we're doing the work that then when she sees us not doing work, she can't reconcile those are the same people. But other than that, that's the only reason I can figure that she would say that.
I think that's it.
But we are doing... Well,
Yeah,
now, there are
I don't
two
know what
exceptions.
she wants us to do.
There are two exceptions, Kevin. Do you want to say what the two exceptions are? And I'll see if you can remember what I always say.
What, work that we don't do?
Yes.
Oh, if it will fry you or drown you.
Well, actually, I say if it'll
Flood.
cause a fire or flood.
Fire
we
or
don't do
flood.
it. If the people who do it have the word master in their name, we don't do it. So, like, if we need a master electrician or a master plumber, we leave that to the pros.
Yeah.
But all the rest of it, we do.
But I will say, too, there is, and if you want to get out here and DIY your...
DIY it?
DIY.
Do
your...
you itself.
If you want to be a DIYer...
No.
DIYer. Dang it. I obviously can't be one. I can't even get the letters straight. But I get requests or comments or questions from people all the time. How much would it cost to do this?
Yeah.
We contract everything ourselves, which is one of the other things we do ourselves. Just turning it over to a contractor and saying, do it, you're going to get twice the fees.
Yeah.
But we do the contracting ourselves. So even if we don't do the plumbing or the electrical, which we do
the plumbing plan and the
a
electrical
little
plan.
bit, yeah. And we contact and coordinate with
and
plumbers and
oversee.
electricians and oversee.
We get the permit. So we get a contracting permit. So we are considered the contractors. So we're the ones, when they come and do the inspections, we're the ones that have to be there and that have to answer yes or no, this is what we have to fix. So, you know, even if we aren't actually physically putting the pipe weld on there and welding the pipe together, we're still in charge of what's happening with that part of the project.
Right.
Right. So let's talk about what has happened with the big things that have happened at Melly and some things that we've got going on at Melly. So you kind of know an update there.
Right. Melly has all of the plumbing roughed out. We've got a new water line to the house, and all of the plumbing has been roughed in.
Why don't you tell them what all that is? Because it had no plumbing. Just so you guys know, There was a house there.
Had no.
There was no pipe. There were no pipes
Right.
at all. It was literally like it was in 1880 whatever.
Right.
Zero plumbing. So what have we added?
It's from scratch.
Yes.
Melly will have 3 bathrooms. It's going to have a laundry room, mud room, and then there's work done in the kitchen as well.
Yes. So
We've
anything.
got gas and water and sewer.
All new gas lines, all new sewer lines, new water service from the street. And those things take time. That took 2 full weeks to do that. And we can't be in there while that's going on because a lot of the work that we're doing would be in the way of the plumber. So the last thing we want to do is get in the plumber's way and slow him down.
We had some of the wood cladding, the siding, milled. So we had that milled and delivered down there. So we still have to install.
Should we talk about that process? Because I think a lot of people would see that missing cladding and would panic and think you can't get that on the market. And what do you do? But that's, again, one of the lessons that you learn long-term restoration is anything that you need, you can find, and it's probably not going to be as expensive as you think that it is. So tell them about that process.
Most of the houses that you find, that we find, that we're saving are going to have some sort of cladding issues with rot. And so you can have those milled if you can't buy them, which there are a few, stock siding sizes out there, but a lot of this stuff was custom made. So you can have that milled quite easily. It's not terribly expensive. We have a video on here if you're interested in pulling off your vinyl
Yes.
siding or
Take off
working
your
on your
siding.
siding.
You can expose your original cladding, and if part of your original cladding is missing or rotten, or there are issues with it, you can have it milled, and you can take a sample to a lumber yard and they'll have it milled for you. And it's not nearly as expensive as you probably think it's going to be to have that done. So you can, if you want to take your vinyl siding off and show us all your wood, don't be afraid to do it. So that's why we've been working primarily in Janie to get her habitable for, I don't know if you guys have all watched the first video where we talk about what the long-term plan for the land is. But eventually, these 2 homes and the 3 acres surrounding it will be an urban farm. Some other commenter said, but what's the point? Like, what did you gain by doing that? And I do want to address it.
By doing what?
I think by fixing up Janie. And I want to address the fact that if you are only here to see how much money can be made by doing this, then you're on the wrong channel.
It's not a flipper channel.
This is a channel about saving history and making a difference in communities, and sometimes there's money involved in that, and sometimes we sell a house that can make a little money, but that's not why we're here.
No.
The purpose of Janie is eventually we'll be having people who are there learning about organic farming, working on the farm. It's going to be an organic farm, and so there will be people there learning, working, and we want to have a really beautiful, nice home for them to stay in for free while they're there working. So that's why Janie is being really fixed up into a nice living space.
Right. And I told Lane the other day, if we wanted to, we could flip Janie in a month or so and double our money on that and
Easily.
retain the land. But we're not going to do that
No, we're
because
not.
we have other plans for
Plus,
Janie.
I'm too emotionally attached to this house. I told my mom at lunch today, since I've learned so much about the owner, who's lived here, she'd lived there since it was her childhood home all the way until her death. I don't think I can ever sell that house. I'm way too emotionally invested. I'm too attached to her
Marjorie
and her
May.
story now.
Yeah,
Yes, too attached to Margie at this point.
It's an amazing story.
So it's actually really, really cool today and yesterday in August in Arkansas, which it's usually brutal. Like last week it was 105 and miserable, and today it's really beautiful and cool. So today would be a great day to work on the cladding, but we're not in Monticello today.
No, and
But that'll be happening
It's also very high up, and
Yes,
we're
we'll have to
talking
rent a
about
lift.
getting a lift for that.
It's like 40 feet in the air.
as opposed to trying to do that with a ladder, which is
I
difficult.
won't be doing. And I'm not belittling you, but I think we both are very, very heavily involved in all the projects. But there are projects that are more like fundamentally me and more fundamentally Kevin. The kitchen this weekend was more fundamentally me. Cladding will be Kevin. I don't handle skill saws and saws of any kind. I'm certain I would cut my digits off. But B, I don't do heights. So between those two,
There you go.
I'll stand on the ground and wave at him.
Or depths either, evidently, because you wouldn't go under the house over there either.
Oh no. Well, I mean, if the flooring is off, I will. But for some reason, I don't want to go like under the floorboards.
You were afraid to come face to face with a critter.
No, if that's more claustrophobia.
Oh.
It was that little I don't.
I see.
I don't.
No, I get it.
It wasn't critters because I was all up underneath there. The critters were just as likely to be where I was as they
Yeah, but
were
you
where
could
you
see 'em
were.
coming.
But it's more like that little
Yeah.
dark. I don't be a little dark spaces. I don't like it. I don't like it. So anyway. So that's
Okay.
the update on Melly.
That's the update
and
on
I
Melly.
think just quickly we should also, for those of you who are new to this channel as well, we do have 2 other projects that are going, Helen and Willa. massive, massive projects, but probably the way that we're going to walk you through so that we keep the storyline contiguous and easy to follow is we will complete one project on here, and then we will go to the next project, and then we will go to the next project. So look at the restoring videos and episodes, I think, as seasons, rather than we're going to jump from this one to that one to this one to that one to this one. So when we get Melly completely finished for you and Janie all tidied up, then we'll start showing you the work on the others.
That's today's plan.
That's today's plan. Who knows what'll happen?
Might change tomorrow. But
That's the beauty of making your own show and not worrying about television.
Exactly. Y'all are here for it, right? I'm clapping for myself. All right, let's give them an update on the before and after of the Melly of Janie's kitchen.
I want to point out, so we put up a TikTok about Janie's kitchen, and one of the comments I've gotten most of all is, why do you have deodorant under your sink in the kitchen? I thought it was obvious that we didn't live there and that this is how we walked in and this is how we found the kitchen. I don't keep my deodorant in the kitchen. That house, Janie had been unoccupied entirely for 7 years, so just left for 7 years. Everything that was in those cabinets had been there for 7 years. And then prior to that, Mr. Bond had lived in the house without his wife, Marjorie May. She passed away in 2011.
Oh.
He lived there until 2016 as a 90-year-old man by himself.
Yeah, well, any man by himself, there's going to be deodorant under the kitchen cabinet, so.
But a 90-year-old
May
man
just
even
happen.
more so by him. So the kitchen was disgusting. And what I want to emphasize is you're right now probably looking at a video of the before. That's after the first cleaning. We don't have video
true.
of it when we first walked into the house because it was so foul that I couldn't even take pictures of it. So what you're seeing when we're walking you through the before is after it had been scrubbed. But we hadn't scrubbed the cabinets yet, but after it had been scrubbed. But I think the thing that I really want to talk about in this video, in this process, is that 98% of people would have walked into that kitchen and said, it's a gut job.
Right.
These cabinets are disgusting. They're falling apart. They're splitting. It's old. We got to gut it all out and start over.
And they would have spent so much money in new cabinetry and new countertops and probably a new sink.
Flooring.
Heaven forbid that they would get rid of that sink.
Appliances.
But yeah, flooring, tile, appliances.
I mean, you could easily spend $15,000 to $25,000 in that small kitchen if
Sure.
you wanted to gut
Right.
it and redo it.
And
there was no.
You created a darling little kitchen. Speaking of money, let's talk about how much this complete makeover for this darling kitchen cost.
I said I have put it out on TikTok and Instagram that this is a $300 kitchen makeover. But in actuality,
We don't think we spent that.
I think it was like $275. And now that is not taking into account the $985 an hour I would have charged you for my labor. Like I said,
Well,
this was
we're talking to these DIYers,
DIYers.
and they're going to be able to do it.
Yes. So let's just talk about step by step what we did. So last week when we were at Janie, we took off all the cabinet doors. They were splitting. The panels were falling off. The hardware was covered in 72 coats of paint. The crystal doorknobs had been painted over and were greasy. So we took those off and we brought them home.
They were good wooden doors.
Solid
with
wood
pretty
doors.
crystal knobs.
Beautiful. They're
Worth
original
saving.
hinges. Those hinges are from 1937. And they're flush mount solid wood cabinets. To have those recreated today, if I had went to an artisan and said, I need you to make me those cabinets, they'd be $20,000.
Right.
Yeah, they're gross to look at right now, but you know what I did? So we took the hinges off. I used, if you want to see the whole process for cleaning the hardware, we have another YouTube tutorial called Restoring Your Antique Hardware. It works both for the hardware and for the glass doorknobs. So I did that process on the hardware.
Oh, you put the glass doorknobs in the bowling stuff?
Yeah, it's real glass. And if they're acrylic, you can't do that, but they're crystal, so you can do that.
Wow.
Yeah. To completely restore those. Then I spent 2 solid days, really like 2.5 solid days from dawn till dusk. And by dusk, I mean it was dark and I was still working. I used Smart Strip by Drummond, which is a wonderful stripper. That's my shoe on the Naugahyde. It's a great stripper because it encapsulates lead paint. So if you have lead paint on any of your historic woodwork and you're worried about that, the Smart Strip and the Peel Away encapsulate that lead so you can safely remove it without having to worry about lead. So that allowed me to strip them almost all the way down to bare wood. Since they'd always been painted, it's very rare to get all the paint off, and I didn't need to. So I got them as close to stripped as I could. Then that allowed me to re-secure any of the panels that were popping off, re-glue them, re-clamp them, nail them in, and really get them secure and square again. Then once that was done, I caulked all of the open seams that had been revealed by removing the paint. I really do think those doors were being held together by paint because so many of the nails had released and they'd swollen and shrunk over so many years. The paint was holding them together. So once I got the paint off, they kind of started really popping apart. Then I caulked all those seams back together again, sanded them, painted them, put the old hardware that now looked new back on, and they looked like brand new cabinet doors that you would spend $50, $75, $125 a piece on, right?
Yes. So then we take them back down there and we paint the rest of the cabinet. You paint the rest of the cabinets. I know it's going to be a lot of, she did it because she did do most of the work.
This was a lane-heavy project.
Yeah, she did most of the work in this project. Now,
let me just say this. He's wonderful, and he does a lot of like the cutting and the milling and the big dude stuff. But if it requires meticulous application, that's me.
what are you doing and why?
I am scraping off the top coat of latex paint that somebody painted over the oil-based paint. And if I could spiritually slap them because they're dead now, I would do so. That's what I'm doing.
All right.
Right
So
now.
what did you do to get
So I
that
just
off?
put a quick, so there's a spray stripper. So there's different kinds of strippers on the market. We usually use Drummond's Smart Strip, but that's gonna peel it all the way down to bare wood, and I didn't wanna do quite that much. I just wanted to take the latex off the top because we have oil base that's gonna go back on top of this. So there is a spray on paint stripper that you can get that will pop off that latex away from the oil, and then I can just lightly sand the oil and put that coat back over the top of it without having to scrape it all the way down to bare wood.
Yay.
Yay!
I
There's
don't.
the cicada right there.
I mean,
sitting
it's
right in that
so
tree.
loud.
I'm gonna throw a shoe at it.
All right, where is it?
It's right there. I can see it.
Oh, I see it.
You see it?
Yeah.
We have to kill a cicada, or at least there you go. There we go.
Where'd he go?
He went. He left. The sounds of the South in summer.
And don't come back.
That's right. So we just, on the uppers and lowers, now the cabinet doors I stripped all the way down to bare wood, but the uppers and lowers, we just stripped the latex off of the oil base, then gave that oil base a light sanding, and then we painted them inside and out. Well, we cleaned them. Look.
Yeah, we cleaned everything. You have to clean everything before you can do anything in these old houses.
When you leave food in cabinets for 7 years,
Yeah? What happens?
and little creatures get in there,
They leave behind evidence.
evidence. So much evidence.
And we've got a little of that on video.
So much evidence of their presence.
Yeah.
So cleaning was really,
A lot of bleach.
and he
Yes.
did do that. I swept him out, but
Oh,
I was
did I?
like,
Oh,
I sprayed
Yeah.
the bleach in
Oh,
there and
that's
then
right.
told him, you gotta wipe it
Clean 'em
out
out.
because I'm literally gagging.
I thought I did something.
Yeah. So then I painted inside and outside, so everything's all clean, all fresh. They look like brand new cabinets inside and out.
Installed the doors back on and all the hardware.
They fit beautifully
Uh,
right in there. Now there was one that was a little swollen, I think, just from years, and so we had to plane one down just a smidge.
Right, to get it to close. Now, what happens with those doors is they do swell
Yep.
occasionally, and when they get caught and you like pull, that's what makes the doors separate. So if you just plane that down,
Plane it down.
you'll save yourself a lot of headaches
Fit
later.
right in there, just like a little dream, just flush in there.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
I love the color green.
I do
that you
too.
chose. So where did you get your inspiration? Let's talk about that before we go further with what we did.
1930s. This house was built in 1937, and the 1930s was really the era of the new modern kitchen, because of course if you think about it, before about 1880 kitchens were detached. Even up into the 1890s, kitchens were detached. They were a room unto themselves, and everything in it was freestanding. Then you get into the latter part of the 19th century, we start putting them in the house, but everything is still freestanding, everything is still furniture. Then we get into the 20th century and we start building in cabinets. We start building in these kitchens. And the 30s, the modern kitchen was all the thing. And there were certain colors that were wildly popular. Yellow, powder blue, red, and jadeite green. And I was at an estate sale a couple weeks ago and found some 1933 Better Homes and Gardens magazines that had all these wonderful pictures of the modern kitchen.
Yeah.
And most of the cabinets were jadeite green. So I went to big box store and found paint that was called Shanghai Jade. And from thence came that beautiful cabinet color. Somebody on TikTok said it was putrid. Now you'll notice there were 1,000 comments and everybody else loved it. And one person said it was putrid. My feelings are hurt.
I would say have your monitor checked because your colors are off.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Now we put subway tile on the
and
background. Let's talk about subway tile. a little bit.
Somebody was like, there's no way you did this for $300 and you put subway tile up. Subway tile is $15 a box for just standard white subway tile.
You'll find us using subway tile a lot for that very reason, and it is timeless.
Timeless. The reason it's called subway tile, somebody the other day said, you should quit using subway tile, it's so trendy.
What?
The reason it's called subway
said
tile is because it was used in the subway systems that were developed in the middle of the 19th century. It is a timeless product. Now, if I had unlimited funds, I would use the flat cut subway tile because that's truly the most period appropriate. That's instead of 32 cents a tile, it's like $3.50 a tile. I was able to tile that entire backsplash and down to the floor for about $20 worth of tile is what it cost me to do that.
So yes, we tiled. She
Yes.
tiled.
I did. There's some crazy cuts in there too, boy. Let me tell you what. I am very proud of my cuts.
Yeah, no, you did a
But
great
they were
job.
very, very hard.
It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
So we did all of the tile on the backsplash, painted all the trim
Yep.
and baseboards and window sash.
Windows surround. And yes, the windows do still open. Somebody asked me, oh my gosh, my windows are all painted closed. Why would you paint antique windows? Well, you don't paint them like a moron, right? You don't seal them up with paint. You
Just
very carefully
Throw a gallon of paint on it and then clean them
You
off.
paint the rails, you paint the stiles, you paint the muntins, then you paint the trim. You don't just go in there and go crazy, sloshing paint all over the place. And yes, they do still open, I promise.
Yes.
And then, so the thing that ties it all together, though, really, because it is a lot of color. Kevin painted the walls. The walls, again, this is a kitchen that had been used for many years. And I don't think it'd been cleaned
Well,
in 2 decades.
I cleaned it pretty dang hard last time I was there
Yeah.
behind that stove, but it was still dirty.
Nasty. So then Kevin painted the walls because they just needed it.
They just needed some paint.
And you don't want it to look hodgepodge, right? You don't want it to look like you just went in there and you know, took your coloring box and just threw colors around. So in the closet, the linen closet, I had found the most fantastic 1930s, 40s tablecloth that I cut in half,
A small one.
a small one, and used Marjorie May's tablecloth and her ironing board in the kitchen to make the cafe curtain over the window, which had all the colors in it that we wanted to use in the kitchen. And that, I think that little thing pulled all those colors together. You can use as much color as you want in a space. Quit using gray, white, and black. You can use so much color. You just have to have something that unifies it. Just
Right.
one thing that unifies it, and it pulls it together beautifully.
And your jars and your
Yes.
canisters on the countertop.
Now I already had the
did the same
canisters
thing.
and I already had the bread and the flour, so we weren't really counting those in the price of the restoration. But even if we did, I got the canisters for like $5 at Walmart, the glass canisters for $5 at Walmart, and then the enamelware I got 75% off day at my Roy Dudley estate sale. I think I got those for $5 a piece. The yellow teapot and the little jadeite green pitcher my mother purchased for me. I think every video I'm like, my mom bought that
I
for me.
know. She's buying half our stuff.
Well, she loves to be part of the restoration,
Well,
but
good.
she can't really like work on them at this point.
She is welcome.
But those two together were $24. So there you go.
I want to ask you, did you feel Marjorie May's presence while you were ironing on her ironing board and think to yourself, this is where Marjorie May ironed her dress for
I
church?
told Mom at lunch today, I feel so emotionally connected to this house. But in that kitchen, for some reason, I think knowing she grew up there and then she lived her married life there, so that kitchen was always part of her life. Like, I can't help but think when she found out that Clifford was killed in the war and needed to go get a drink of water, she pulled those door handles, right, to reach in and get her a glass. When she went on her first date, she ironed her dress on that ironing board. That, it just feels so personal. That room to me feels so personal, more so than even the rest of the house feels very personal as well. But for some reason, the kitchen feels, I feel very connected to her.
And
to her
also,
story there.
I think having the photo of her in front of the fireplace.
Yeah.
I don't know, just knowing that she stood there.
Right. I mean, we know that she lived there, right?
I know.
But,
she stood everywhere, right?
When we found those pictures of her in the backyard a couple weeks ago and sitting on the back porch steps, it just makes her presence in the house so real to me, and her life so real. I may have to actually finally write a book about her life. I've said for years I'm going to write a book. Her life may be the one I finally write.
Well, she's already famous somewhat.
Yes.
For her having her story told.
I want to talk about the floors because on Instagram and TikTok we're having a lot of people say, "Oh, and you put linoleum down. How did you do that for $300?" It's not linoleum.
We pulled linoleum up.
Disgusting linoleum. So what we found underneath the disgusting 1990s linoleum was a printed, probably 1940s faux cork cover over hardwood. And we could have pulled up the faux cork, but there's a possibility there's asbestos in it. So we didn't really want to pull that up and deal with that. So what did we do, Kevin?
We encapsulated it.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
We did. We painted it yellow with an oil-based paint so that it will wear.
High gloss. So you get a mirror finish, high gloss, oil-based paint. I know some of you live in parts of the country where oil-based paints are very difficult to come by because they're being controlled a lot more than they are here in the South. But we put 2 coats of bright yellow oil-based paint. It self-smooths. Kevin got to do that because it'll self-smooth. It self-corrects.
I need everything in my life to self-correct.
Yeah, me too. It self-smooths. It creates a mirror shine finish. It looks like the linoleum, but instead of spending, linoleum, believe it or not, true like marmoleum, which is what you would want to use in a kitchen of that period, that probably would have cost us $3,000 to put that down in that little space. It's crazy expensive for the real stuff.
No thank you.
So instead, we spent $50 on paint, and once it's dry, it is a rock hard finish. You can mop it, you can get it wet, you can walk on it, you can drop things on it, it won't chip, it won't scuff. You can clean it with soap and water, and it looks just as good.
Looks great, yeah. We may put a checkerboard pattern.
We may. We're going
to look
to
at it when we get back.
But we were tired. Again, we did all of that work.
The original plan was a checkerboard.
Yes, a cute checkerboard floor. But by the end of the day yesterday, I was so tired I thought I was going to die. And we're going to go see a movie tonight. And I told Kevin, if I don't have time for a nap before that, I will fall asleep. It doesn't sound like we did that much.
Well,
but man, it was a ton of work.
Well, all right. So I was playing the game earlier with my fingers. Mm-hmm. Is it paint, caulk,
grout,
mastic, or grout?
That's all the same thing.
I mean, we did a lot of things this weekend.
We did. Yes, we did. We did. We really did. Like crazy people.
Yeah, I know. You probably can't see them now.
No,
but
I finally got mine clean.
Yeah, it's still all on my fingernails.
And I got a splinter and it got infected. And so I did all of that without the use of my right index finger. You should be even more impressed.
She did it with 9 fingers.
9 fingers?
She did it with 1 finger behind her back.
And the most important finger, my dominant hand pointer finger. Before we close, I just want to say, don't gut your original kitchens. Don't gut them. Before you spend $70,000 putting yourself a modern kitchen in, take a couple $100s and see what you can do with your original kitchen. Make it splendid and keep it appropriate.
I'll say too, and this isn't the first time we've done this. I don't know why people come in and smash up good wood cabinets. If you don't like the look of them,
or you think they're dirty,
you can change the doors so much cheaper than getting new cabinets.
Yep.
You can change the hardware very easily.
Yep.
And change the look of your cabinets. I don't know. We just do everything on limited budgets, so we're not throwing around money on brand new things.
It's not just limited budgets. It's let's keep it out of the landfill, people. I mean, the landfill is full. Quit throwing good materials away when they are still good, usable materials. If you have solid wood cabinets, reinvigorate them. Don't replace them. There's no reason to do that.
Right.
Same thing with antique appliances. That sink is going to last another 90 years. That stove is going to last another 90 years. We do plan on getting a vintage stove, a vintage refrigerator. I just didn't find one before we did the reveal, so
Yeah.
I kind of hate that we didn't have that.
That one will probably move to the garage someday.
Yes, for sure. And yes, that is the disgusting. For those of you who follow us on Instagram, that is the disgusting refrigerator.
Yeah.
He cleaned that too.
Yes, I
So
cleaned and
we're
cleaned and
using
cleaned it.
Right. Reinvigorate, revitalize, restore. Do not just immediately walk into a historic space and rip out. That is disrespectful to the people who built it. It's disrespectful to the craftsmen who created it. And it's so disrespectful to the lives that have been lived there. You don't have to like the way they look when you buy a house. You can make it look like you love without having to completely replace it.
Amen.
Amen.
And scene.